Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Friday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early, man. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, I'm not sure what I'm going to title this video, but I'm probably going to title it My Will to Live. I'm not going to call it Losing My Will to Live because that's not really accurate. I don't want to get people worried. I don't want a bunch of comments saying, Daryl, you should go, you should talk to somebody, you should, seek help, stuff like that. I'm worried about you. I think people, I think when you get here's the bottom line. I think when you get to a certain age, that's my opinion of this because that's how it feels to me. You realize that more than at least 3/4 or 2/3 of your life is over. And then you start counting, like on average here in Connecticut, like each state has different life expectancies for males like me. And I think 77 in Connecticut. Okay, so I'm going to be 59 in a couple of weeks. And as I approach 60, I started to realize, at best, in 10 years, I'm going to be almost 70 freaking years old. Now, for those of you that aren't this age yet, if you're 30 or 40 or even 50 and you're watching this video, I didn't feel like this when I was 50. As I get closer to 60, I start to count, on average, at best, how many years do I think, on average, would I have left? And after that, say I live to 90, do I really want to? There's a guy that lives right next door to me, and I think he's 92 or something like that, and he still works, he's still spry, he's out there every morning when I am, he loves going to work and everything like that, and it appears that he's still living a full, happy life. I don't hear him crying next door or anything. I assume that he's happy, and that's great. But how much past life expectancy do I really want to live? I think a lot of this has to do with watching my father die from terminal malignant brain cancer when I was 9 years old. And I remember watching him in the bed. And it got to a point very quickly within a month or two of being diagnosed with terminal brain cancer that he didn't even recognize me, his 9-year-old son. And that's the thing that struck me the most. And he was a park ranger. Big guy. He played Smokey the Bear. He rode on top of the ladder truck in the Fireman's Day Parade. And he was dressed as Smokey the Bear, and he'd throw lollipops to the kids. And all the kids would chase the ladder truck down the road during the parade, catching the lollipops. And I would just sit there, because I didn't have to chase the lollipops, because I was going home with Smokey the Bear. Smokey the Bear was my father. That was one of the proudest, I'm getting goosebumps, that was one of the proudest moments of my life. But at 32 years old, I was 9, he was diagnosed with terminal malignant brain cancer, and he died within a few months. And at one point, he was weaving baskets, and he had like crayon marks, and me and my mom just talked about this recently, crayon marks on his skull from the chemotherapy where they were going to cut or where they were going to aim the chemotherapy. And he weighed like 120 pounds from over 200 pounds. And he was weaving baskets to keep him, keep his hands busy or whatever. And I hated those baskets. I hated seeing, I hate whenever I see a basket, I hate it, because that wasn't my dad. And it got to the point, like I just let my father die. He's already gone, So I start to think, that's what I think about. How many years do I have left? I'm close to 60 years old. I think I'm still in good shape, although I've got a lot of aches and pains this morning. I pulled a back muscle working out yesterday, and I'm in pain this morning. So that's not really a good point. In 10 years, I'll be 70. I have 17 years, according to average life statistics. 17 years. So by comparing that, I've been clean and sober for over 18 years. You know what I mean? So in your head, you could almost say, well, the best, the majority of my life is over. One of the things that affected me was, I talked about this in a video, Seeing Blood, I think was the title of the video. I did it about 2 weeks back. And back in September, I urinated blood. This was from being very dehydrated. But, and it kept going for for a couple hours, a lot of it. And it freaked me out. So I got on my phone and I was like, what does this mean? And like the top things where you're dying from, terminal cancer, kidney disease, all sorts of terrible things. It wasn't any of those. It actually turned out to just be severe dehydration from working out so much and bike riding and overexerting myself. And so I learned not to do that. But, it's you start, I've gotten to a point where I think I can accept death. Another thing is, I'm not worried. I see movies on TV, like this movie, Greenland. I wonder if Donald Trump saw this movie with Gerard Butler. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. And okay, so there's asteroids or comets coming to wipe out the Earth all of a sudden, unexpectedly. And he and his family try to make it to, this is a spoiler, so if you don't want to hear this, pause the video now. They try to make it to Greenland because there's a big army base with an underground bunker. And I think that some of this is true. There is army bases and there are underground, like the seed bank is in Greenland. It makes me wonder if Donald Trump watched this movie and that's why he wants Greenland now. Probably. Wouldn't surprise me. But in this movie, the people, what people are doing to each other is just ridiculous, just to try to survive. And I watched that movie. And all of us have that innate, the will to live, the desire, to claw each other, just to save your family. I'm going to talk about family in a second. The desire to live. You'll do anything to anybody, and you should see the stuff they do to each other in this movie, just mauling and, just basically ending up killing themselves trying to save their family. I won't give away too much more. And then, okay, here's the big spoiler. So they get to the Greenland, they get to the bunker, and it's a year or two later, they survived. And he opens the door to the world that's, what's left of the world. And right then I asked myself, was it all worth it? What is left of the earth? You have to rebuild civilization. Is it really worth surviving? Was it worth tearing each other apart? And just mauling each other, with your tooth and nail to survive? Was it worth it? Is the next year or two, or however long you're going to survive, because there's no more hospitals, there's no more health care, there's no more aspirin, there's no more anything. So how long are you going to survive in the new world? Was it worth it? One of the people in this movie, I think it's the father of the wife, the grandfather. I think he has some terminal, and he just sits back and he says, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to sit in my house. I'm going to enjoy, I'm going to sip some lemonade, smoke a cigar. It is what it is. I'm going to enjoy it. And that right there sums up how I feel today, how I feel these days. Like I just, I've accepted that. And I really believe there's something after life after death. I really believe that. Here's where I'm going to move on to now. I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that I don't have any kids. I don't have any kids. My sister doesn't have any kids. I don't know why this is. I don't know. We just decided not to have kids the way it turned out. With me being a drug addict for a good portion of my life, it was probably a good choice. I'm glad I didn't ruin somebody else's life. But at this point, I really don't have a whole lot to live for, to be honest. That's why I made the video from yesterday. I kind of want a legacy. At this point in my life, I want to help other people. I want, like, the fact that I've done hundreds of paintings. I've sold paintings, I've donated paintings, I've given paintings gifts. My paintings, there's over 100 paintings out in the world, like all over the country, probably in other countries right now, with my name on it. And that's really cool. See, I started thinking about that. Even though I don't have kids, my name, Daryl P. I'll tell you guys why I signed it Daryl P. I'll tell you guys that in another video. Is going to survive. Maybe in 100 years, my painting will still be up, in some cabin somewhere after a comet strikes. Maybe my painting will be inside the bunker, or somebody will bring my painting along with them, and that's a good feeling. A legacy. You left a mark on the world. That's why I did the video from yesterday. I want to help somebody. I want to pay it forward. I want to make somebody else's life better. I want to make a change, a positive change in this world. That's my reason for living. Some of the things looking forward to, like the things that are happening in this world right now, make me wonder if it's worth, fighting tooth and nail to live. Look at the fires in LA, climate change, President Trump's. I can't believe I'm saying that. Going to be President Trump in 2 weeks, and I do not have high hopes for the country or the world. And some of that just makes me, really not want to live too much longer. The way the world is going, the way we look at each other, and it's not just America, it's not just the United States, it's the world seems to be leaning farther and farther right, blaming other people, blaming immigrants from other countries. Even in other countries, they're blaming immigrants coming in there. There's more hate in the world, and it just makes me wonder if really, is it worth fighting tooth and nail to live? Yeah, so I have my mother and my sister. We survived my dad dying, but I don't have any kids. I've lost a lot of people in my life, so I've kind of come to accept death. I think that's another thing, like my father. And Audrey, my soulmate, my first girlfriend in third grade. We went separate ways. We got back together in our 50s. We were both in recovery. We moved in together. She was the love of my life. And she was a Trumper. She was a MAGA Trumper. And she insisted on not getting the vaccination. She insisted on not wearing a mask, not social distancing. She ended up getting COVID, and she ended up dying fast in a couple weeks in Jacksonville, Florida, August 5th, 2021, just a little over 3 years ago. And she didn't fear death. Like, I remember talking to her, and she had the attitude where, she didn't look forward to death, but she really had a belief in Christ, that there was going to be a life after. And I could see she believed it. I'm sure she died a horrible death, but losing her too, it's one of those things that takes away my will to live, my desire to be here, my desire to survive. I don't know if I'll get another girlfriend. I don't know if I'll ever have another love of my life. I don't, I'm not suicidal or anything like that, but I've accepted that, the days I have are the days I have. I could be gone tomorrow. I could be gone today. I could be gone in a freaking hour, so enjoy today. Like I said, pay it forward, leave my mark on this world. I think that concludes my points for today. I think I've covered. I wrote down notes here just to be sure. Oh, let me fill you in now why I sign my paintings Daryl P. It's an homage. It's a giving credit to AA and NA. Because when you go to AA and NA meetings, I've been to hundreds and thousands of AA and NA meetings over the last 18 years, and you introduce yourself. That's how it's anonymous. Daryl P. or Daryl. So I introduce myself as Daryl. Hi, I'm Daryl P. I'm an addict. I'm a recovering addict, blah, blah, blah. Or I'm a recovering alcoholic. I say, depends on what group I'm in, I'll say either one. And I am a recovering addict and a recovering alcoholic. And it's an homage. It's a payback to that. So I sign most artists will sign their first initial and their last name. I sign mine, my first name and my last initial, Daryl P, as a credit to NA and NA. That's why I sign it. And I sign in gold. I don't know why. I hate gold. I hate the color. I hate gold. I'm more of a silver person. Gold makes me think of Donald Trump. I hate gold, but all my paintings are signed in gold, Daryl P. So that's how you can tell. If they're ever worth anything, that's how you can tell it's a real Daryl P painting. All right, that's the video for today. How's your will to live? How old are you? Have you accepted that, there's life and there's death? We're all going to die. We're all born, and every one of you watching this video is going to die. It might be today, it might be tomorrow, it might be 30 years from now, but you're going to die. You will, it's coming sooner or later. There's going to be your last day on earth, and it's coming every day. It's getting closer. Your days are counting down. You only have a finite amount of days left on this earth. I think that sums up this video perfectly. So enjoy today. Really, I just got goosebumps again. Enjoy today. Pay it forward. Be kind to other people. Help other people. Make a mark in somebody else's life in a positive way. That's my point. That's what I tried to do in yesterday's video. Have a good Friday.